All right, welcome back. Now, since Nigeria slipped into recession in the last quarter of 2016, the Naira has become the weeping child, losing its value against major currencies of the world. Now, this of course, has affected importation and international business, including local goods and services. Efforts to arrest the free fall of the Naira by the Central Bank of Nigeria on many occasions have actually, well, should we say, failed. The CBN, however, adopted the flexible exchange rate, allowing market forces now to determine the rate. These has also not yielded very positive results, as the exchange rate in the parallel market is almost double the interbank, that's the official interbank rate now. While CBN's interbank rate hovers between 300 and 305 Naira, the exchange rate at the parallel market is around 490. For some time now, security agents have been clamping down on Bureau of the Change operators who exchange the Naira beyond the approved rate for them now. The CBN and the Association of Bureau of the Change operators have now struck a deal. President of the Bureau of the Change operators of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabe, says the body now needs to reconcile the situation with the CBN to correct the nation's conflicting exchange rate. The body has actually now settled for 399 as its own rate. It says it is doing this to help bridge the gap between the official market and the black market. Let's take a listen now to Aminu Gwadabe speaking on why the flexible exchange rate has actually not yielded the kind of positive results we had expected it would yield. Actually, the general impression was that with the adoption of the flexible exchange rate, we were going to see inflow of forex from other sources, but so far nothing much like that has happened. Let's take a listen to him.
Kudos must be given to them for coming out with that single market. It has never happened in the economy before. So it's as a result of the will of the regulator to even merge the market from two markets to a one market, to call it single market. Yes, why we are yet to see the inflow. By the time the market started, it started about 250 to 300 to $1, and we almost recorded about $1 billion inflow through the OTC window. However, over time, because of the continuous arbitrage between the official and the unofficial market, the foreign investors decided to hold back their inflow, agitating for a rate that is closer to the unofficial market. So the reason why the foreign inflow is not coming is because the foreign investors are holding on to their money, that except until when we have closed that gap between the official and unofficial market. And part of the reason why we have gathered today is to talk to ourselves, because the ball is in our court now, for the media, for the operators, for the regulators, to ensure that that gap has been reduced so that we can continue to maintain the confidence of the foreign investors and will be having this inflow.
Talking about that gap, it's actually quite huge. As I said earlier, the official exchange rate is somewhere around 305 to 310 Naira. But then in the black market, it's actually 490 Naira. Now, that huge gap, a lot of people have said, creates an arbitrage opportunities for those who would want to make money, because most people will definitely not be going to the official market now to exchange their dollars. They would rather go to the black market. So bridging that gap is very important. And the general impression is that if you have such a wide gap, it's difficult to attract foreign inflow, because people, especially foreign direct investment now, because they're absolutely not sure if the official rate will remain. Because as some people have argued, if you have such a wide gap, then there's every likelihood that the Naira or the currency now might be depreciated further. But we just wait and see. But again, as we've been saying, we've seen security agents go around the country clamping down on Bureau of the Change operators who sell beyond the rate approved for them. Well, the Bureau of the Change operators have now said they're going to be selling at 399. That it's all their own strategy now to help to bridge that gap. 399, that's what they've agreed to sell. But let's take a listen to Aminu Gwadabe again speaking on the clampdown on a setting Bureau of the Change operators who had not been operating should I say, who had actually fallen out of line?
Compliance of any licensed operator, either you are a BDC or a bank, is sacrosanct. So you cannot say you will not comply to obligations. We have obligations to meet. So even as a registered operator, if you are not compliant, the security agencies are there to come and look into your records. We also report to EFCC, NFIU, even as registered operators. So the issue of unregistered operators being raided is issue of enabling law. I think the law does not allow them to operate on the street. So my take here is that there should be a flexible law that will recognize them by registering them and also capturing their transactions. And
how do well, of course, it's talking about those roadside black market operators. Joining me now to discuss this issue and take a deeper look at it is a financial analyst and chartered accountant, DEJI. Awubutu, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, DEJI.
Let me start by asking you, tell me how challenging it will be to bridge that gap. It's actually very wide, 305 to 490, quite wide. And the CBN says it wants to bridge the gap. Bureau of the Change operators now say they want to help the CBN to bridge that gap, but it's certainly not going to be a piece of cake.
Well, that's actually a policy that is coming from the regulators, basically. But the question we should ask ourselves is, are the regulators willing to go all the way? Now, the parallel market operators, the black market forex sellers are out there. We know where they are. Now, where's the will for them to go out there and capture these guys and arrest them? Because if you go to other jurisdictions, can you see forex traders on the streets? The answer is absolute no. So if you don't have a regulatory structure for you to register, then you take them off. Now, we have the commercial banks, we have the Bureau de Change. These are registered institutions, they are registered operators. You can go to them, review the transactions, see who is buying what, see who is selling what.
So it makes sense then what the Bureau de Change
they should scrap them. They
should at least register.
Well, if they're going to register, then they have to put structures in place, because these guys are you need to maintain the minimum standard in terms of minimum capitalization. You have to have an office, because you can't just operate on the street. You must have an office. Now, your street trading should be a means of getting people in, and those who are even buying and selling forex from you should also have the KYCs, because if you don't have KYCs of your customers, certainly
the black market operators would not.
They would not go all that way. So if you are willing to go all the then you must register them and ensure that they comply with all stipulated rules and regulations. The NFIU is there to curb all issues of suspicious transactions. So if you have a money launderer or a government agent or a civil servant trading so much in forex, because you've gotten the KYCs of that individual, it will be easy for you to track them down and say, well, you bought so much in terms of quantities, you sold so much quantity, where did you get them from? So they should be able to give details about the sources of their wealth or the sources of this forex, where they're coming from. So certainly I want to support strongly that the street traders should be scrapped.
But let's face it, if we had enough in our reserve, because the problem is now is that the government is not earning as much as it used to in terms of forex, and but the fact is that if we had enough and the CBN had enough watchers to use to defend the naira, we wouldn't be in this situation we have now. So the point is it necessary to even concern ourselves with the activities of these black market operators? Because if we had enough, if we work to add to, if we're able to generate forex from other sources, whether we like it or not, the black market will just fizzle out naturally. Well,
I want to a bit agree with your position, but the point is, having so much in our reserves is subject to various factors. Now, initially, we're a mono economy. We're believing that diversification will increase our wealth. But the point is, looking at our oil, to what extent can you go in curbing the excesses of the Avengers, of the Niger Delta militants? To what extent can you go? Now, if you have that being washed, then the prices of crude oil, how can you influence that? So all these are beyond our control. We only move with the tides of time. So in as much as we can put effective structure in place to handle that or to control that measures, and certainly we should go back to our own, what we can control, what we can influence. Let's deal with that, and every other thing will fall into place. Now, the initial policy that the CBN had to make the forex a floating system would have worked if there was no parallel market. But unfortunately, they didn't deal with that first before coming up with that policy. So rather than going through the normal designated institutions, the BDCs, the commercial banks, they saw another way where they can trade their forex, so, and that will give them bumper profit. So a rational investor will look at that other option rather than going through the stipulated regulated institutions. So the first thing they need to focus on is to scrap these guys, take them off the street, let the security agents go all out after them. When they realize that the security agents are after them, nobody will have the boldness to tell you, DG, I have $1 million to sell, I have this unit to sell. Why? You must go through the registered institution, certainly.
What impact you think, for instance, this our policy on, the agri policy, you look at the policy, for instance, on rice production. Now we're beginning to have more and more people produce rice locally, and that, of course, will no doubt save us the huge sums of money we spend now on food import bill. What impact now do you think that could have on the forex situation in this country? Now,
if you produce a whole lot in terms of agriculture, the implication of that is you are producing for consumption in Nigeria. It will get to a point where agri-product will be so huge within the system that it will satisfy us locally, and the excess will be available for export. And once that is being exported, what happens? Money will come into the country. So we need to satisfy the local consumption.
And if we're able to satisfy local consumption, we'll be saving money. The money will use
to bring in other products. And once we have a whole lot of these items in place, then it will make Nigerians even think that, okay, rather than consuming this, can I convert it to other items? Because diversification and multiplicity of items, deals with the issue of desire and taste. So rather than going through rice, before you know it, you have enough rice on ground, and you're thinking, okay, with rice, I can produce 1 or 2 items. With cocoa, you can produce Bonvita, you can produce the rest of it. Now, it is thinking, because these items are available easily for you to get. Now, every other finished product that you're bringing from outside the country, you can look at local alternative materials to produce similar items. So at the end of the day, Nigerian economy will be better.
And another area we probably have to look at is the area of, petrol imports. We understand 30% of our forex actually goes into the importation of petrol. Yeah. So if we're able to refine locally and we're able to refine locally, that's just it. We surely would be able to do.
There'll be a lot of savings from that part. And if there's savings there, you have enough here to even export to other countries. So the thinking here is, let's move out of the normal mono system, become a product producing nation, and that will certainly improve the issue of our
as bad as
challenge.
Things are now. I mean, with the naira, especially in the black market, because we always look at the black market rate anyway, exchanging for around 490. You think if some of those things we've talked about now were put in place and things begin to work, the naira, the value of the naira will strengthen, and
again, I'm going to ask, why do, as an individual, I'm a consultant in Nigeria, I do my business in Nigeria, my transaction for my functional currency is naira. Why do I yearn for dollars, for instance? I don't need dollars, but whenever I need to travel, then I know I will need dollars to travel. Now, the BDCs are the various airports. If I have my travel documents to present to them, they will give me at a standard rate. Now, I was being offered recently at a rate of 400. I was like, wow, I've already bought at a huge rate because I needed to travel with Forex. So if we believe that your need for foreign exchange is to satisfy your need outside the country, then to reduce the pressure on individuals speculating on, okay, let me just buy the dollar, skip it because I know it's going to rise. Why are you buying dollar? You are killing the economy. You are killing the system. You only buy it when you need it to travel. And because the market going forward, I believe, will be will not be so dynamic that changes will affect it. And at the end of the day, everyone will certainly be happy. So go for the dollars when the need arises. It will put lesser pressure.
That's not what is happening now. People just buy
are speculating. They're speculating, and it's affecting the system generally. So if they believe that the speculation will not give them so much profit, then nobody will bother doing it. They will put their naira money in normal transactions here and good money, because forex trading will not pay off at the end of the day.
DEJI, I want to thank you very much for coming on the program.
You're welcome,
thank you very
DG.
much for sharing your thoughts with us. Well, that's it on the program. We thank you very much for watching. But if you want to see it again, all you just need to do is go to our website. It's www.tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this program and lots more there. You can also follow us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel. The address is youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria. Or you can as well just follow us on Google+. That's at TV360 Nigeria. And of course on Facebook, it's facebook.com/ /TV360 online, and our Twitter handle is @TV360 Nigeria. And of course, continue to stay tuned and follow all of our programs on those social media platforms. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.